Hey, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris. I'm doing 1,000 vlogs over 1,000 days. Yep, 1,000. And, well, maybe 1,001. You never know. And today's vlog is vlog number 79. I'm going to flash it up just here. I know there's somebody called Russ who likes to see it flashed up. So I'm going to flash it up there for you, Russ. And yeah, vlog 79. It's great though. I'm really enjoying this. And somebody messaged me the other day and said, can you tell us something about you that we don't know, you know? So I think it's important to share a little bit about who you are so people get the feel of who you are. So here's something that a lot of people don't know about me. When I was 11, it involves a story, so I do apologize. But when I was 11, I ran to school one day and I just chipped the side of my ankle. And every day after that, it became subsequently worse. To the point where I ended up staying at home really rather rapidly. And my ankle started to get really bad. And I won't be too graphic, but it started to turn black. And after about a few weeks, the doctor came to visit me. And at the time was completely clueless as to, you know, not his fault, but completely clueless as to what was going on. So the suggestion was after it was 6 weeks that I was sent up to the hospital. Bearing in mind, it was a completely different time. So it was exactly 1980. And my sister took me to the hospital. They did a blood test. And they came back and they said to my sister, we're going to have to rush him to the hospital, to another hospital, to have an operation. And of course, upon hearing that, I was like, oh, no, I don't want an operation. Yeah, I was completely sort of, as a child, frightened and scared and taken back. It was a very, very frightening time. And I hadn't walked properly on it for weeks. And it, you know, the skin was sort of dying around my ankle. And my sister said, yes, let's go to this other hospital, let's give him that operation. And I was rushed then from the initial accident and emergency hospital to this specialist hospital. And the lights were on, the sounds, the sirens were playing, and I arrived at this other hospital. And gosh, just talking about it just really, it just brings it all back, you know. But I just think it's important to share something like this with you guys, you know. So I got rushed into this specialist hospital, and they were literally preparing me for an operation as quickly as possible. And I had a drip put in, I had all sorts of things. I had to take medication. I was asked lots of questions when I'd eaten last, what was, you know, what was sort of the pain that I was feeling and the difficulties that I'd incurred on the run up to this point. And yeah, my sister was there up until the point where she couldn't be there. And they literally put medication in me, and I remember looking over, and you would not believe this, you can't script this. I remember looking over at the bed on the other side where other children were, and there, right opposite me, was a local friend, if you like, from just up the road, who I knew very well, and she was lovely, and she was in there for I believe a hip operation. So I remember looking over and thinking, you know, this is just crazy, isn't it? And they rushed me down to the operating theatre, and just before I went down, the surgeon was there and the nurse was there, and they were patting my head like this, and I was on the table. And I remember looking up and I said, please save my leg, just don't cut my leg off, please, you know, as a child saying that. Yeah. It just has so much gravitas, you know, it really does. And it was a dark room, and I was asked to count back from 10 backwards, and I don't think I even made it to 3. And what seemed instantaneously, I woke up, but it was obviously a good few hours. And these incredible surgeons, these incredible people, did an amazing job. As I woke up, I saw the nurse to my right, and I just forced myself up. It seemed like there was a weight on me, but I forced myself up, and I could see that I had a very bloody right leg. It was still there. And gosh, I pray to God every single day that he listened to me, you know, and the surgeons were just absolutely incredible. Now, what I had was something called osteomyelitis. It's fairly common in children, believe it or not, but very, very rare in adults. Almost it never happens in adults. And yeah, I then began my journey of recovery, which really took about 2 years. I was off school for a very long time. So when I recovered initially after the operation in the hospital, the girl who I'd known up the street, we became very, very good friends. And later on in life, there's a story here where I met her occupationally, and she had a sway in me, you know, and helping me on my career, I'm sure. Of that, I'm convinced of. Because we had that connection, because she knew me, because I knew her, you know. But once I got discharged from the hospital, it was a case of recovering at home. But just a side story, I was very poorly in hospital, and yeah, really struggling to come to terms with this immobility. And my sister, one of my sisters, was living out in the Middle East, and I hadn't seen for a long, long time. And she out of the blue took a plane right home. And yeah, I just remember seeing the joy, you know, that she gave me. Turning up at hospital and seeing me, you know, it was just lovely. And that interaction really lifted my spirit and gave me enough, you know, just to be able to move forward. And yeah, so don't underestimate the power of family and what they can do to really lift your spirit in trying to recover. So yeah, I left hospital and went home, and the rest of the family were absolutely amazing. I had crutches. I had 3 plasters on my right leg over what is a 2-year period. And in that time, it taught me humility. It made me understand and realize that, you know, sometimes in life we have to rely on other people. We do. We absolutely do. We're so connected in our communities, our families. Sometimes we have to rely on help from other people. So that time was a gift in a way. I never really truly understand that, and to hear me say that now is incredible. But the gift was my mum, who was very poorly and on dialysis. She had a fistula fitted in her wrist, just about here. And believe it or not, it was a time where I understood the mechanics of how to drive a car, or understand the gears, if you like. So with my right hand, I used to change gear for my mum whenever she wanted to go somewhere, because it was just too painful for her. And our connection, our growth as a son and as a mum, just the bond was even more so. And throughout this time, I had the local education authority coming around and educating me, and they were brilliant. Very often, though, the following day after they left, I used to do all my work literally the following day, and then spend time with my mum. And it was so unique, so special. I'll never ever forget that. And I had help from the physio, and they used to come round and they used to help. But the best physio I had, we had this very dodgy washing machine, and when it vibrated and rotated, well, I could move my leg. I hadn't moved my knee joint for about 18 months or something, and when I finally got the plaster below my knee, I used to move my knee slightly when the washing machine was on. When it vibrated, it really helped me. So it was an incredible time, and that is something that a lot of people wouldn't know about me. And yes, eventually I recovered. I got rid of the crutches. When I eventually went back to school, most people thought I was the new kid. And yeah, so I really don't have too many secondary school friends that are still in my life. There are people that would have known me. It's funny, the other day I bumped into somebody who knew me from primary school, and that was lovely and special. So there are maybe 1 or 2 that would know me from there. But today, now, I don't really have the connection with people from a secondary school. But I'm not heartbroken about that. That's not a catastrophic thing in my life. I overcame this difficult time, not single-handedly. I stood on the shoulders, of giants. Absolute giants. You know, those surgeons, the doctors, the NHS. Gosh, I'm so eternally grateful for all that. Because of them, I've had a life. Because of them, I've done things I would never have done. Seen things I would never have seen, and met people I would never have met. Had the skill not been there to help me. So, yeah, I just think it's important to share something that has some kind of resonance, and maybe you've had something similar. Maybe you've had help from people that have helped you to survive, to overcome something. So that's something that people don't know about me. I recovered from osteomyelitis, and what an incredible thing it was, you know. I don't look upon it as a bad thing. It shaped me to being the person I am today, and that's as strange as that sounds. So look, a bit of emotion today, but thank you so much for listening to my story. And I'll be back tomorrow with something completely different. And if you're not subscribed, a subscribe will be great. But I'll leave you with that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.